Hi friends! Today I would like to talk to you about the realities of home practice. While it's really nice to be part of a community and to practice in a studio with others, that's not always possible. So there's always the option to practice at home. The first point I want to talk about is distractions. I happen to have this very cute distraction here. He likes to be nice and close whenever I'm practicing at home, especially if I'm home alone. He likes to be close to my side. So if you also have a cute furry distraction at home, it could be helpful to have an extra mat. At some point, I imagine he's going to try to take over mine, so I usually have another one set up that either I can hop to or hope that he landed on that one first. So another thing with home practices and distractions is there might be extra noises. I live in the suburbs outside of a very populated city, so there's sirens. Sometimes there's construction noises with all the neighborhood people around. So just practice tuning inward and not being distracted by these things. If you notice that you are distracted by these noises, just notice, acknowledge. Try not to let them affect you. So try not to get angry, upset, annoyed, other feelings that may arise. Just try to ignore those feelings. So you don't have to ignore that the sounds or distractions are actually happening, but just try not to let them affect you. Good boy. So when you're practicing at home, you may not have a mat, and that's okay. If you have a carpeted floor, it may be nice to practice on that. If it's extra thick, it may be a little harder when it gets to your balance, but you don't necessarily need a mat. If you have a hardwood floor, I do recommend having something down just for a little bit of protection, especially if you're going to be on your knees at all. So you can put down a blanket, a towel, anything else that has a little bit of padding. Just be careful that it might slide when you get up and move around. So maybe practicing your standing postures on your hard floor and having something comfy down for when you're seated, supine, reclined, anything that's not standing. So another benefit of when you practice in studio is that there's usually props available. Props are your tools to help make your practice more comfortable, more accessible. They're not a necessity, but they're really handy to have on hand. So I happen to have my own yoga blocks. I have a nice foam pair. I actually have two pairs, and I got my husband his own pair because I want them to stay mine. But you may not have that, but chances are you have books laying around. You can take your books, you can stack them as high as you need them, keep stacking as high as you need to go, take it down if you need to go lower, and they're nice and sturdy. That's why I like to recommend books. If stacking them gets a little sketchy, a little less stable, you probably have one of these empty cardboard boxes from an internet delivery company. And you can put your books inside your box to make your box a little bit more stable. That way when it's up on its side, it's not as tilty. It has that weight in it. You can put your weight into it. So books make amazing blocks, and just like your regular blocks, you can adjust the height. You can add more, take some out, make them less. Wonderful tools to use. So when I practice yoga, I have a yoga blanket at home, but you may not, and you can use any kind of blanket. A throw blanket is usually pretty nice. It's not too big. You can fold it up as much as you'd like. You can unfold it and use it as an actual blanket. And a towel can also do the same trick. So a regular shower towel, a beach towel is a little bigger, so you may have a little bit more fluff to it when you fold it up and roll it up. Another thing that blankets and towels are good for is if you want to make a bolster at home. So you can take your blankets, you can roll them up, and there you go, you have your bolster to go underneath. That is in the way. You have your bolster to go underneath your knees. You can set it up so it goes along your spine. Get a little heart opening. Any reason that you may want to use a bolster, you can use your blankets and your towels for that too. And another thing you can use as a bolster is a pillow. So you can set it down just as you would a bolster and lay back. You may need to stack up more pillows if you like more height. You can create an incline just like you would with bolsters and blocks by setting down either your towels, blankets, or even your books. So then you have that incline position. So there's lots of things you can use at home that you already have on hand. You don't need to go out and buy tools just for your yoga practice. So the last thing I'm going to go over with you with props is some sort of strap or belts. You can use an actual belt. Most of them are going to be long enough for you to wrap around your foot. You may not be able to sit up quite so straight if you have a shorter belt. But you can also use a scarf. Scarves are usually a little bit longer than your belts. It's not going to be as stable, so there's going to be a little bit more stretch, but you don't want to use your strap in any way where you're pulling. So it may provide just the right amount of support for you. So there we have it. You can practice yoga at home with things that you have on hand. You can make your own props and make your practice more comfortable. And while you may miss being in your studio, you don't have to miss out on your yoga.